Okay, hello everyone and welcome to episode 40 of Ask the King, my ongoing Q&A series with you, the viewers and fans. Now, it's a new year, 2014. This is the first time I'm doing this show in the new year, and so what I'm going to do is very quickly preface this, explaining to you how you can submit questions for this series if you're a newcomer and maybe you haven't seen this before, all right? First of all, I live stream this on Twitch the day of, as I'm recording it, and then I subsequently upload it immediately to YouTube on my YouTube channel, The King of Hate Vlogs. And there's several ways that you can submit questions. First of all, there's always a forum thread up on my website, thekingofhate.com, where you can submit questions for the next episode of Ask the King. I've already posted up the forum thread for the next month's episode after this one. All right, that's the best place for you to post your questions, simply because, just my mic here, simply because I read all of them. It's very easy for me to go through the forums and read every single question. Now, if for whatever reason you just hate registering for someone's forums, you can also submit questions to my Twitter account at TheyCallMeDSP, or my Facebook account, which is just facebook.com/TheyCallMeDSP. The day of, when I'm actually reading through the forum questions, I post up on Twitter and Facebook, please submit your questions on those two mediums, and I take questions from there as well. Last but not least, I do actually do open stream Q&A. Oh, people are saying, that's right. Haha, I forgot my cowboy hat. I'm actually wearing the beanie this time around. Wow, people are saying this is the first time you're wearing the beanie instead of the cowboy hat. You're absolutely right. I forgot the cowboy hat. I'll actually go run and get it before I answer the first question. How about that? I always wear a cowboy hat during this show just because I thought it was something neat for this show to wear. And I don't know, it's kind of like my thinking hat. So I'll go grab it in a minute. I'm glad I checked the stream chat. People are saying that. Where's the cowboy hat? Okay. And then we do live Q&A during the stream. So right now, actually, I will ask my mods on the stream here on Twitch TV to open up the Q&A session. You'll see they'll give you the instructions on how to do it. I think it's like you have to type !raffle and then your question. It'll submit your question for the raffle. Please do not submit the same question more than once. And please, only serious questions. We get some of the dumbest stuff sometimes, and it just makes the Q&A section of the show kind of shitty if I'm getting 5 dummy questions that aren't real questions. Please submit legit questions, and the last portion of this show will actually put the stream into a mode where I can draw those questions from the raffle, and we'll go from there, okay? And now, before we answer any questions, very quickly, I want to get everyone on YouTube and on Twitch TV up to speed with what's going on with my internet. Because if you've been watching my content around, the past half month to even the past month of 2013, you know my internet's been flaky as hell. And I apologize for that, because obviously if I'm trying to live stream stuff and if I'm trying to upload stuff within a reasonable period of time, I need consistently good internet. And I haven't had it. My internet has been completely crap this past month, and no one, once again, within my internet service provider, no one can figure it out. They had a tech out here the other day. He checked all the equipment in my condo for the 4th time and said, no, it's all good. It's either something in the basement or it's the lines outside. So here's the situation. Right now, for the very first time since I've ever had internet problems, someone has, within my ISP, has taken ownership. He is a supervisor of customer support. Now, he doesn't have any technical know-how, but he's basically said he's going to follow up with me and drive this until we finally get a solution. So at least we've got someone who's got my back within the company who provides my internet, and that's a good thing, okay? What's supposed to happen is within the next few days, the company that services the lines, it's actually not my ISP, it's some special services team, is supposed to check all the lines outside and also the equipment in the basement of my condo facility, and they're supposed to service it and get this fixed. Now, I'll tell you right now, every single day since that tech showed up on Tuesday, I've had problems. Tuesday night, my internet dropped out and it took forever to upload my Game of the Year awards, and the same thing happened last night. So I'm fully expecting that later tonight, I'm going to have the same problems when I try to do my second stream of Dragon Age Origins, which is what my second stream is tonight. So I apologize to anyone who's been trying to watch my content later. If you're watching second stream and the frames are dropping like crazy, hell, it could happen now because it happens randomly. If the frames start dropping on when you're watching on Twitch, or if you're waiting for my videos to upload, you're like, what's taking so long? I apologize, it's the internet. And I cannot get another ISP. I cannot get any other brands of internet here. They don't allow it at this condo facility. So I'm literally a prisoner of having bad internet. I cannot get out. So This is why, as I'm pushing forward positively in 2014, I'm really looking forward to getting out of Connecticut, moving to a state where maybe the internet's better, more dependable, and that's obviously going to help everyone. While you're watching on Twitch, whether you're watching on YouTube, and me as well, for my business, it's going to be great, okay? I'll keep everyone appraised of that situation as it develops, but as of right now, they're supposed to come out here and service it at some point this week, okay? All right, I'm going to be right. Give me 1 second. I swear I'll be right back with the cowboy hat, okay? Sorry I forgot it. Well, yeehaw, little doggies. I reckon that you're all missed Southern DSP, so he's back to answer your questions, and I'm going to do the rest of the episode with this kind of accent. So here we go. Woohoo! Tan my hide and call me Susie. No, I'm not going to do that. I am not going to do that. Okay. Get my questions up here, and like I said, we had a ridiculous amount of questions this time around. There's a wide variety. I've selected 29 questions for this episode. So the way that I actually do this show, if you're a newcomer, I do it in half-hour increments. So I'm going to record for about 30 minutes. Right now, we've already been going for about 5 to 7 minutes. Then I'm going to take a break. We're going to, on Twitch, just do a quick commercial break. If you're watching on YouTube, the video is just going to end. Just go to the next part, okay? And that's pretty much how I do it, about 30-minute increments. So without further ado, let's get on to the first question here. Here we go. All right. First question is, Phil, I just recently started a YouTube channel about a month ago. I'm constantly creating content and having a rough time getting started and trying to get people interested in my videos. I do basically anything video game related. My question is, do you have any advice for new YouTubers and those starting up their own channels? In one of your previous videos, you mentioned showing... Oh, this is a second part of his question. He says, in one of your previous videos, you actually showed your HDCP bypass setup. When do you think you're going to make and publish a full video of this for all your viewers to see so that we know how to do it ourselves? And that's from Legend Keepers, all right? Well, the first part of the question is a tricky one, because my answer to you today is far different than what I would have answered several years ago. In fact, I did answer this question several years ago, and I have to mix up my answer now because things have dramatically changed in the landscape of YouTube, all right? Over the past several years, what happened was that people saw people like myself and many, many other people getting their gaming-related channels partnered on YouTube. And they said, even though they might not be, avid gamers, even though they might not even be into it, although some of them, a lot of them are, they said, oh, well, if these guys can play video games and make money, I can too. And you had a flooding of thousands upon thousands of people to YouTube to do gameplay-related videos just to make a buck. And that's sad, because it is sad that when someone sees someone being successful, oh, well, I deserve that too, regardless of the fact that if I have any kind of a following or I even care about the medium, I got to try to make money quick too. And they rush and they try to take advantage. And what's happened is that YouTube has become massively oversaturated with people making gameplay videos. And I'm not just talking Let's Plays, I'm talking game reviews, game-related skits, all kinds of stuff. It's completely flooded and oversaturated. It's incredibly difficult for you to just go on YouTube and find out who's good, who's popular. Why should I watch? Why is this guy popular versus this guy? What kind of content does this guy put out versus this guy? It's almost impossible to even figure it out anymore because there's just too much. It's like when there's everyone's doing the same thing, it all becomes white noise. And so if this were 2 to 3 years ago and you had asked me the same question, Legend Keepers, I would have said, just put out content there that you enjoy, do what you do, and as long as you're having fun, it doesn't matter if anyone catches your content. You're having fun, you didn't waste your time. But I still say take that attitude, but it's incredibly difficult to get noticed on YouTube now. And even people like myself who have been around the block, who've been around for a long time, even we're seeing declines in viewership because people are just getting so, oh, well, there's 4,000 people doing gameplay videos, so I'm going to watch this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, and this guy maybe fell off a little bit. Now I'll watch this guy, this guy, this guy. It's not like, wow, there were 10 top people who were doing it and you would watch one of those 10. It's not like that anymore. So really what I have to say is this is the best advice I could give you. You got to try to find something that's unique and different, but unique to you. So is there something in your personality? Do you have a unique take or unique perspective on gaming that maybe a lot of other people wouldn't have? Do you have a unique talent or skill related to games that maybe you want to showcase and show off? Do you have an important or interesting story to tell? Are you good at writing skits? Are you good at comedy versus just hardcore playing games? You got to find a niche now. It's different than it used to be because there's too many people who've oversaturated the market. You have to find a niche so that people who are looking for something different will find that in your content and they'll get hooked and they'll watch your content. That's the best advice I can give anyone, not just for gaming, but anyone who's even uploading anything to YouTube. You got to find a niche because if you don't, too many people have uploaded videos to YouTube and the website is just so cluttered with content, it's hard to even find anything anymore. The second part of Legend Keeper's question is regarding my system to do direct capture video from the PlayStation 3 and now the PlayStation 4. It's called an HDCP bypass. Very briefly, I'll explain what this means. When the PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4 were manufactured, they have what's called high definition copyright protection inside of them. What that means is that you can't just take the HDMI cable, plug it into a capture device, and capture video. It won't work. They've put some kind of technology inside of those boxes so that you can't do it. Now, the reason they did it, this is the thing, there's always the spirit of the law versus the letter of the law. The spirit of the law that was put in place regarding HDCP said that you cannot bypass it because what people will do is they'll take Blu-ray movies and they'll put them into their PlayStation consoles. They'll rip the video directly just by playing the movie, and then they'll put that on the internet. And either they'll sell it or they'll distribute it over, these BitTorrent and stuff like that. So that was the spirit of the law that was put in place. Prevent people from stealing and distributing movies. But what ended up happening was these are gaming consoles. So now what about people who want to do Let's Plays, who want to take video to do creative things such as reviews or skits and stuff like that, things that are protected under fair use? Well, it's a legal gray area because technically the law just says you can't bypass HDCP. Now, not one person on the planet Earth has ever been sought after or prosecuted for bypassing HDCP for gaming purposes, which is why I have a setup that allows me to bypass it. But because it is technically not kosher with the bigwigs who write laws, and they never went to court for it to fix the law regarding gameplay footage versus movie rips, I don't really want to show you guys definitively what my setup is, because the last thing I want is that I make the video, all of you guys start doing it, and the next thing you know, someone does step up and says, that's it. 5 billion people are ripping, bypassing HDCP. We got to sue everyone. It's better to keep things like that on the down low. The bottom line is the information on how to do it is publicly available. There are lots of forums and places where people have talked about it and they're doing it right now. Anyone, and I say this, anyone who is doing direct capture footage of PlayStation 4, including media outlets like IGN, GameSpot, they're using HDCP bypass too. So it's not like, oh no, I'm the only person doing it. No, anyone who's doing PlayStation 4 gameplay footage is using HDCP bypass. So don't let them act like they're high and mighty and you shouldn't do it. They're doing it too. So don't feel bad if you want to do it and you've got a PlayStation 4 and you want to use the footage. It's publicly available. Go seek the information. My setup has worked for several months now. I'm happy that I'm able to direct capture PlayStation 4. Now here's the other thing. Sony has already come out publicly and said, well, we do want gamers to be able to direct capture from our PlayStation 4, but we didn't think ahead enough, and therefore we're going to implement a bypass for it later. So Sony themselves, the manufacturer of the console, are saying we're going to give you a bypass for it later. They just didn't do it yet. So is anyone going to take anyone to task for bypassing HDCP for gaming? No. It's not going to happen. No one's ever going to get in trouble for it. Technically, even though it's against the law, it's really not, because the law is for movies, not for games, but it's never gone to court, so there's never had that kind of distinction in the law before. But I'm not going to go that extra step and make a video about it and get everyone in trouble, including myself, so that's why I haven't made that video. But the knowledge is public if you want to go check it out. Okay. Next question is from Soul 2092. Okay. And Soul 2092 says, "Hey Phil, my question for you is that if you don't mind answering, his question is this: what brought you into role-playing games, and are you looking forward to new role-playing games in the next few months, such as Lightning's Return, Final Fantasy 13, Tales of Exilia 2, and Tales of Destiny, just to name a few?" Well, here's the thing. I grew up in that era where it was transitioning from the NES to the Super NES. And I remember watching my cousin play Final Fantasy 1 on the NES, and I didn't really get it. I was like, it's kind of turn-based. There's not really action. You don't have to have hand-eye coordination to do this. It's kind of like step-by-step, turn-by-turn. And I didn't really get it. But then when I had a, Nintendo Power. Everyone was subscribed to Nintendo Power back then. And when I saw Final Fantasy 2, which I didn't realize was actually Final Fantasy 4, but they called it Final Fantasy 2 in the United States, and I saw the graphics of that thing on the Super NES, my jaw dropped. I was like, holy shit, this game looks amazing. And I remember I couldn't wait. I told my mom, I want that game. I want it so bad when it comes out. And I remember going and getting it. I think it was for my birthday and playing it. I was so blown away at the graphics. And then, of course, the sound, the Super NES. That was one of the first games for the Super NES with, like, full orchestral music playing during the game. And it was just so different from anything I'd experienced on the NES. And it blew me away. And so really it was Final Fantasy 2 or 4 that hooked me on this turn-based kind of RPG, JRPG combat. And since then, I mean, come on. So many great games came out that were JRPGs, including Final Fantasy 3, which was really Final Fantasy 6, Chrono Trigger, Secret of Mana, Earthbound. I mean, during that era, there was like release after release after release after release that were just so good. Then the PS1 came out, and you had Final Fantasy 7, Suikoden 1 and 2, if that's how you even pronounce it. I don't even know if it's Suikoden or Suikoden, or I don't have no idea. Suikoden, however it's pronounced. And there were just so many of these turn-based games that were just, amazing amount of content. They were all really long, great graphics, crazy music that was just like orchestrated music, and I loved it. And that's really what got me hooked on JRPGs. Now, asking the games in particular that Soul brought up, I'm really not too excited for Final Fantasy 13 Part 3 Lightning Returns. The game's way too drawn out. Let's face it, when did Final Fantasy 13 first come out? What was it, 2009, I believe? It was either 2009 or 2010. I think it was 2009. What the fuck? Dude, it's 5 years later. No one cares in 5 years about the same fucking plot again. It's enough is enough. There's no reason to come out with another installment. All this should have been wrapped up in the first game. And at this point, at least Western audiences, when I say that, I mean outside of Japan, pretty much the rest of the world has fallen out of love with Final Fantasy. People are fed up. They're tired that Square keeps pumping out the same fucking games with a little bit of tweaks here or there, and they don't care about this storyline anymore. So, am I skipping it? I don't know. I haven't decided yet. I'm actually looking, and that week that this game comes out is actually the week when my girlfriend's coming to visit me for Valentine's Day. So let me tell you, I'm probably only going to be able to play it for a day anyway, and then my girlfriend's going to show up. We're going to be busy for a week, and then the week after that, I believe there's nothing until the weekend when Donkey Kong comes out, but the week after that, there's multiple releases with Thief and other stuff. So I don't even know if I'm going to have enough time to play through the game, even if I do get it. So right now, it's like the least of my worries. Of all the games coming out this year, the Lightning Returns is like the least of my worries. Will I play it? Maybe, but I'm not like super excited about it like I was about Final Fantasy 13, and I really was not even that excited about 13 too. So a third installment is like, give me a fucking break, okay? Now when you mentioned Tales of Exilia 2, that is a game that I'm interested in, because just last year I did a full playthrough of Tales of Exilia. The people who watched it loved it, but it wasn't a lot of people. There were people who were like, it's just a JRPG, I don't like that. I understand that. But the people who watched it and liked the JRPG stuff loved the playthrough. There were lots of recurring jokes and things that happened during the playthrough, like yoked out bazongas that people talked about all year. So, I'm interested in the direct sequel. Tales of Destiny is apparently some kind of a re-release, an HD remake of an older Tales of game, and I think that comes out the same day as Thief. So I'm interested in it, but when there's all these other stuff coming out, am I going to do it? I don't know. As we approach these dates, I'll give you more solid answers on what I am and I'm not playing, but we need to get closer to them for me to give you definitive answers, okay? I mean, when you think about it, already this year in 2014, January is a slow month, So I'm already filling the time with a JRPG, Blue Dragon, and a Western RPG, Dragon Age Origins. So I'm already got 2 RPGs going. How many freaking RPGs can you play at once? And I hate to say it, but I'm going to say it again because I said it 2 years ago, and I'm going to say it again. What is it with these game development studios releasing all the RPGs at the same fucking time? So let's review. Final Fantasy 13-3 Lightning Returns, Tales of Destiny HD Remake, Tales of Exilia, and I believe, if I'm correct, there's 1 or 2 others all coming out within a 6-month span. Why are they all coming out at once? What about last year? You know, last year we had Tales of Exilia, and that was pretty much it. Like, what other JRPGs were there? Almost none. So where the fuck were all the games last year, and why are they all coming out at the same time? Why do JRPGs do this? I don't get it. Of course, you're going to kill each other. You're going to destroy each other's market share because not everyone's going to buy 14 JRPGs in 1 year. Ooh, it blows my mind. It baffles me. Okay. Next question. This one is from Squiz Lee. And he says, Phil, what's your opinion on the new trend of overhyping games before they're even announced for release? A good example to look at would be the recent overhyping of Fallout 4 due to some leaked document. And then later on, it actually, you know, he's basically saying he saw his inbox is flooded with news. Fallout 4 is coming. Fallout 4, Fallout 4, just to find out that really it wasn't true. It was this website that was supposed to be a viral website that was overhyped, and then people found out it was a hoax. It was a complete hoax, had nothing to do with Fallout 4, but then another document leaked that said, oh, it really is coming out, but there's no release date, no one even knows how far along the game is. The next thing he says is another game that's a perfect example of this is Half-Life 3. This game's been overhyped for years and years, and we've heard nothing from Valve about the game even coming out. My take on it is this. Don't you notice that the hype is not coming from the game development studios, right? You don't hear Valve saying Half-Life 3 coming soon. No, they've never done that. You don't hear Bethesda, oh yes, the next Fallout will be the best game ever that we've ever made. They don't even say shit. They don't even talk about them because they know the games are in development. They have no clue when the games are coming out, all right? It's the fact that these games, these series, I guess I should say, have such a dedicated and hardcore fan base that the fans become to foam at the mouth if they have to wait for a new installment or even just a tidbit of information on a new installment. How long have we been waiting for any kind of information regarding Half-Life 3? In fact, wasn't there supposed to be another expansion for Half-Life 2 that never came out? So how long is Valve going to sit on their existing game line? How much fucking money do they really make on the games that they have that they don't have to make games anymore? You know what I mean? They haven't put out a game in how fucking long? And you got Bethesda, who for the past few years has basically focused on other stuff. You know, they put out Skyrim, and they're focusing on other games for the meanwhile. Eventually, I'm sure they're going to go back to Fallout, especially if this leaked document is true about it being... I forget where they said it was going to be located. Chicago, maybe, or something. I don't know. But if that is the case, when is it coming? Why are we seeing nothing? Nothing. No news, no screenshots. So that kind of stuff makes the hardcore, rabid fans just go nuts. And anything that they see that's a tidbit, a morsel of info, they devour. So when that farce of a website came out that looked like it was going to be a viral marketing for the next Fallout, oh my God, thousands of people flocking to it. It's got to be it. Look, it's the Fallout symbol. It's got to be it. It's got to be it. People need to calm down. These game development studios will announce their games in good time when they're ready to announce them. And people need to chill out. That's the bottom line. You get so crazy obsessed about certain game lines that you start spreading false information. How many people hopes were dashed when they found out that website was a farce? It was just someone dicking around with people because so many people were so anxious to hear Fallout 4 news. So anything that you hear, you got to take it with a grain of salt. Unless you hear it directly from the mouth of the company who's publishing it, don't believe it. And chill out a little bit. I mean, let's face it, we're in the new console generation now. We're going to have lots of good titles coming out for these consoles in the next couple of years. Chill out and enjoy those until the next installments of your favorite games are coming out. Okay? All right, next question. All right. Now, this question, just want to make it clear, even though the person who I chose here kind of termed it in a way that I liked, lots of people have been asking me about my impending move out of Connecticut to somewhere else. I announced officially in my huge 2014 announcement earlier this week that as of this year, I'm moving out of Connecticut, period. I'm not taking any and ors or buts, I'm getting the hell out of here because it's too expensive, because my internet isn't consistently good, and I can't really operate my business from here anymore. And I could do what I do anywhere in the country, make the same amount of money. So if I move somewhere with less taxes, lower prices, basically I get to save more money, and I could improve the business, and I could possibly even improve my series, and maybe I could diversify and eventually save up enough money to do a side business as well. All right. So here, let me ask I'll read the question and then I'll answer it. This is from Brian Werney. I can't pronounce these names anymore. All right. So he asks, hey, Phil, my question is, you're going to move soon in the coming year, because you talked about it, and you talked about moving to places like Seattle or Texas or Florida, or more southern coastal areas, like you said your last episode of Ask the King. You're moving away from Connecticut, and I know your overall feelings of leaving, this isn't worded correctly, but basically, the reasons that you have to leave suck, is what he's saying. But what about some things that you're going to miss about Connecticut? So, for example, knowing that your family lives there right near you, knowing that you spent most of your years there of your life. Absolutely, I've lived in Connecticut my whole life. What about things such as co-op with John Rambo? How will that be affected? And what things will I miss the most about this area? Those are the questions that he asks, okay? So I'll start with the last one, because that's quick and easy. What will I miss the most about this area of the country? Number one, I will miss the food. The food in this area of Connecticut is outstanding if you like Italian or if you like seafood. They're huge. When you look up the restaurants, you're going to find pizza or Italian restaurants or crazy, lobster and clams and shrimp, that kind of fancy restaurant. That's pretty much all you find in this area. Now, there's a couple exceptions. There's a few Brazilian. There's a few Mexican. There's a steakhouse here or there. But mostly it's either local, those two types of restaurants, or chains. So we're talking, Delightful, 99, Ruby Tuesday, Applebee's. And let's face it, those chains, they're the same everywhere. It's American fare food. Doesn't matter where you live, you can find shit like that. So the unique food of this area, the delicious pizza. I grew up with a local pizzeria called Vinny's Pizza in Bridgeport, Connecticut, that I'm going to miss immensely, because for me, I grew up with that pizza. That's pizza to me. And every other pizza I've eaten, I judge based off of how is it compared to Vinny's Pizza. That's going to be a major change, not being able to get that pizza anymore, all right? The seafood. And I have to admit to everyone, until the past few years, I'd say probably my past 5 to 6 years of my life, I wasn't a big seafood guy, and then all of a sudden one day I said, I'm just going to try all these seafoods that I never really had during my life, including clams, shrimp, mussels, lobster, all that kind of stuff, crab, and I love it all. The only thing I really don't like that much is scallops. I think scallops, I don't like the rubbery consistency of them, and they don't really taste that good in my opinion. Everything else, seafood, I've loved that I've tried, and I've gone on like a seafood binge. Whenever I could find a good seafood restaurant, I try to go to it, because I know eventually I'm going to move out, and that's going to be it for this East Coast seafood. So I love those two kinds of food, and that's going to be a big change for me, adjusting to whatever kind of food, wherever I move, I'm going to have to adjust to. Obviously, in Florida, it's going to be different from Texas, which will be different from Washington State. Very different. Will it be a bummer to not be able to see my parents as often as I do now? Absolutely. So a lot of people don't know this, but I see my parents about once a week, or at least 2 times a month, at the least, because we go out to dinner. And not being able to see them physically, okay, that'll be a detriment. But at the same time, it doesn't mean that I can't call them, you know what I mean? And have a meaningful conversation with them once a week and see how they're doing and try to catch up on stuff. And, it is what it is. You grow up, and you mature, and you move on. Your life changes. And really, at this point, I'm at the stage of my life, I said I'm of the age, and I'm finally financially secure enough. I want to start an adult life that's my own. Everything up to now, I felt like, well, it's a derivative of what my parents chose for me. It's a derivative of being stuck here because I just was never able to financially afford to go somewhere where I'd like to go. Now I'm in a position in my life where I have freedom. I can continue to work and make the money that I like to make while I'm doing what I love to do, and I can do it from anywhere in the country, and that's why I feel so good. It's this point in my life where I got to do it, all right? Now, the last one, I talked about this actually in an interview that I did with a viewer and fan of mine, Gamer J. Lee, yesterday, but since this is Ask the King, and a lot of people are watching this, I'll bring it up today as well. Co-op with John Rambo, how is that going to change? And, how's it going to be affected? Well, first of all, I don't know if you guys have noticed this. I haven't done a lot of co-op with John Rambo recently. If you take a look at what's been going on with the holidays and all that going on, with the time that I spent with my girlfriend, and with John Rambo having a new job, it's been difficult for him. He has a new job, and a lot of the times they make him work on Saturdays. Some of the days he's come here to do co-op, he literally gets up at the crack of dawn, does 4 to 5 hours of work, then drives an hour and a half here to do co-op with me all day. So just think about how grueling that is on him, right? So there's already been reduced amounts of co-op because of other circumstances going on. If I were to move out of Connecticut, which I'm going to do by the end of this year, I swear to it, that's my resolution for this year, I'm out of here, all right? Obviously, what we're going to have to do is find creative solutions. Now, first of all, smart guys won't be affected at all. We can just do it over Skype. 2 webcams, it's not a big deal. That's a very easy fix, a very easy way to do that. I don't see how that would be affected at all negatively. It'll be the same show, only it'll be live streamed with Skype instead of us sitting on the same couch, okay? But obviously the gameplay is going to be affected. Now already I'm a little disappointed because there's already been opportunities for us to do big co-op like Dead Rising 3, which lots of people wanted to see us do co-op, which we couldn't do because couch co-op is going away. This is a big point that I actually made in my interview with Gamer Jay Lee. It seems like fewer and fewer games when you buy them now have local co-op anymore. It's all, each of you must buy the game individually, you must have your own console, and you play over the internet. And it's disappointing. Because I love couch co-op, just like how I used to go to arcades and see people in person and play people in person. It's going away now. It's all becoming digital and over the internet and very impersonal. All right? So it sucks. But it seems like this is the way games are going now. So when it comes to co-op, what John Rambo and I are going to have to do is we're going to have to see, gee, is a game that we want to play together, is this available for playing over the internet? Right? Can you play this game over the internet, or is it something that you have to play locally? In addition, when we do things, we'll have to find creative solutions. So, for example, if we're going to be doing simulation matches of WWE, well, I hate to say it, but maybe we'll have to find a way to stream it so that we can be recording it and dubbing our commentary from over the internet over WWE simulation matches. And I'll have to delay my own video like 2 seconds so that it takes 2 seconds for John to see it. Maybe I delay my own video somehow for 2 seconds, which I can do, but I've never tried it before. There's various fixes and things that we could probably do to institute to make these things still work over the internet. But the reality of the fact is that, yes, co-op gameplay is going to change. There's not going to be any more local co-op, but many games don't even have that anymore. And you're going to see reduced amount of co-op gameplay because John will be in a different part of the country than I am. And it's a major change, absolutely. But it's a necessary one for me to grow and evolve and advance my life. No, I'm not going to stay stuck in shitty Connecticut or in this area of the country where taxes are way too high and I hate the weather just for the fact that every once in a while I do co-op gameplay. All right? Doesn't make sense. I need to evolve. I need to grow, and I can't do that here. So there will be changes coming. It's not going to be horrible. And the other thing I said was this. Think about the locations that I've selected. Texas, Florida, and Washington State. All 3 of those are hotbeds for convention scenes. I mean, you got SGC in Texas. There's also another big one in Texas. Washington has Emerald Comic Con. It's got PAX, the original PAX, Prime or whatever it's called. In Florida, they've got their own slew of conventions. So there's always potential that maybe I could convince OJ and Rambo and everyone to come out and we all hang out at a convention together, every once in a while. It's a possibility. So that's the deal. If I do move, which I am doing, I just don't know where I'm going yet, that's how it's going to affect everything. I know a lot of people will say, that's it. It sucks. The era of couch co-op is over. I know, but I can't help it. The games aren't even couch co-op anymore. Really, the only games that are couch co-op are Nintendo games. Think about it. Everything else you play over the internet. So it is what it is, and that's my answer for that. Okay? All right, then I got one more question, then we're going to take a break here. All right. Take a sip, and then we'll answer the final question before a break. All right, this one is from God's Last Gift. Talk about having an ego. Anyway, his question is this. He says, "Hey, Phil, in regards to your year-end series, of which I love, I was wondering why you've never done a most anticipated games of the next year series of videos. Because I'd love to see this, your year-end events are something I look forward to every year. I love how much work that you put into them, and I especially love seeing the art that's posted for brief periods of time done by different people, like the logos and stuff that get submitted. So I wanted to know why you've never done something like that. I get an understanding of what you're looking forward to most as the years go on, but I'm sure me along with others would love to see what you're really looking forward to in the next year, right at the beginning of that year, okay? Interesting question. I have 2 points for this. First of all, the first point that I have to make is that usually when it's earlier on in the year, it's very hard to gauge what's coming out that year. So for example, this year we know that certain games are supposed to come out, right? Watch Dogs, yeah, of course I'm looking forward to that. Destiny, Titanfall, Dark Souls 2. There's certain games that of course I'm looking forward to, all right? But we don't know if they're really coming out or when they're coming out. Some of them have release dates, some of them don't. And for me to say, this is my game I'm looking forward to the most this year, then the game gets bumped. I mean, what if 2 years ago I said, wow, one of the games I'm really looking forward to this year is South Park: The Stick of Truth. Well, guess what? It's been delayed for over 2 years. It still doesn't have a solid release date. So for me to be all excited about stuff like that far ahead of time would be actually quite foolish, because you never know if those games are coming out or not, especially with the way the development cycle works with video games. Number two, the other reason I haven't done it is because there's no footage of these games, right? How could I show you footage of Watch Dogs unless I steal it from someone else, which I'm not going to do. All the footage in my videos is footage from my stuff, my own content. I'm not going to go, oh, let me go steal the IGN trailer for Watch Dogs and put it here to make a video compilation to show you guys the games that I'm looking forward to the most. There's just no real footage or content of those games yet for me to show you to make a video series counting down the ones I'm looking forward to the most. So the lack of resources to make the videos, plus the fact that you don't know what's really coming out. I've never really been one of those people, oh my god, I just can't wait to talk about these 20 games coming out next year, and then half of them don't come out. I don't get myself overexcited like that too early, okay? Oh, all right, let's do one more question, because I'll do this one. It's a real quick one, then we'll break, okay? This question is from Jake93, and Jake asked the following. Hi, Phil. Now that you have a PlayStation 4, an Xbox One, and you still have your PlayStation 3, you now have 3 Blu-ray players in your house. Good point. What console do you use to watch your Blu-rays, or do you still use the original PS3, and why is that? Great question. The answer is very simple. I still use the PS3, and here's why. Because it has a remote. You can purchase a Blu-ray remote controller for the PS3. This has been out forever, and I use this to navigate through the menus and watch my Blu-ray movies. It's incredibly simple to use. It's incredibly easy to use. The batteries, I think I've only changed them once out in the entire time I've owned a PS3. It's a really good device. They didn't make this for PS4 nor for the Xbox One, and I don't know why. It baffles me that if some people are upgrading to a system that has Blu-ray, what if you've only had an Xbox 360 up to now, and now you're getting an Xbox One for the first time? Wow, it's a Blu-ray player. Now you got to use a game controller to control the video? No, you want to use your familiar peripheral. They don't sell them yet. I don't know why. I would have to think that this sold for the PlayStation 3. I've always had one. It's incredibly useful. I love it. And I don't know why they didn't release it for the PlayStation 4 or the Xbox One. So until they do, I'm not even considering watching Blu-rays on those systems, because I like controlling my movies or TV shows, whatever, on Blu-ray with the controller. I tried syncing this, by the way, with the PlayStation 4. It does sync, but it doesn't work. It'll sync as a Bluetooth device, but it doesn't work at all. You press the buttons, you press everything, it doesn't do anything. So, it does not work with the PlayStation 4, unfortunately. Okay, so that's it for part 1 of Ask the King episode 40. I hope you're enjoying it so far. I've got a lot more. I think I've got over 20 more questions to go. So don't go anywhere. If you're watching this on Twitch, it's going to be a short commercial break. If you're watching this on YouTube, I'm going to end the video here, and we'll resume in a few minutes. I'll come back, and we'll keep on going. So thanks for watching, everyone. I'll be right back.